One of a series of Shut It Down for Gaza protests is happening outside Parliament in Cape Town. This, of course, comes in the wake of the detained humanitarians aboard the Flotillas, which were intercepted by Israel. Of course, speaking to the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign's Yusuf Chitka, once again calling for the release of those that have been detained, and also on the South African government to cut ties with Israel. Yusuf, a very warm good afternoon to you. You are out in your numbers again today. Your message has not changed, but of course we know in the last 24 hours there have been new developments with regards to those that were part of the flotilla.
Yes, our humanitarian activists have been abducted illegally in international waters. They've been taken to Israel. They're in those horrible compounds where they kill and rape Palestinians. And we want to ensure that they are safe. And we are appealing to the South African government to ensure their safety, for them to have consular services, for them to have legal service, and for the boats to be returned to them, for the essential medical aid and the food and the water to be provided, and other essential items to be provided to them so that they can break the siege on Gaza. The participants have informed us in a pre-recorded interview that we must focus on the killing and the genocide of the Palestinians. What they're suffering is a lot, but what the Palestinians are suffering is worse, and that is our focus. We call on the South African government to stop the coal that fuels the genocide over there, and to ensure that Israel is kicked out of South Africa and all other international fora.
I see you have your banners and your placards calling for an end to the genocide, but something that we haven't seen in a long time to my right-hand side is a Free Mandela poster.
Yes, we have. We free a generation ago. It was another Mandela. Today it's yet another Mandela. The same apartheid, the same kind of systematic discrimination and cruel discrimination of one population against the other, a herrenvolkism, and it's our historic duty to ensure that apartheid never occurs, never again, anywhere in the world.
Yusuf, we've been out here with you on a number of occasions when you have been protesting. We've spoken to you. Your call has not changed. You've asked called on the South African government to stop all trade and diplomatic relations with Israel. Why do you think that this series of protests will be heeded? I mean, I don't think you have indicated at this stage that there has been any positive response from government as yet.
You know, in South Africa during the 60s, when the lights went out, you know, we protested. We did all kinds of different things, different forms of protest. We will never give up protest work, and we're going to intensify and escalate our protest in making it a series of demands. We really wouldn't like to occupy Parliament. That is really not the thing to do. But if in a democratic society our voices are not heard, then we will be forced. It's an ineluctable option to be a bit more disruptive towards the coal supplies, towards Amazon, towards the corporations that collaborate with Israel, and towards the government to ensure that we have the legislative framework to deal with this genocide.
Talk about a peace plan for Palestine from across the water in America.
Of all the peace plans, this one is the worst. It strips Palestinians of their dignity, of their right to self-determination, of their right to bear arms, of their right to resist. And we cannot accept something like that. It's the inalienable right to self-determination. It cannot be a favor that is bestowed upon them if they accept servitude, suppression, and subjugation from an Israeli fascist state.
Now, also I understand that there will be similar protests happening in Kalk Bay as well as in the Boerkaap and other areas across Cape Town over the course of today as well as tomorrow.
There is a rolling mass action. The whole week we've been protesting with Jeremy Corbyn, with Mustafa Barghouti, and today we're protesting in the Boerkaap, in Athlone, in Kalk Bay, and different places to raise the awareness, to tell the South African government and everybody else that we won't be silenced. And there's a big protest coming up on the 7th of October. We're joining COSATU and the Palestinian flag will be raised in ensuring workers' rights here, and to ensure that there is no genocide in Palestine through the voice of the workers, a powerful ally in terms of the boycott, divestment and sanctions.
Yusuf Chitka, thank you so much for speaking to me, of course, there from the Palestine Solidarity Campaign, giving us an update with regards to what he calls rolling mass action protests currently happening outside Parliament as various sectors of society and pro-Palestinian supporters gather here. This, of course, in the wake of the detaining of a number of activists that were a part of the Flotilla taking much needed humanitarian aid to Gaza. Of course, they have been intercepted, with also calls for government to act speedily to make sure that those detained are returned to South Africa safely.